to the world nations. This is Dr. Philosopher-Odhiambo Swa-Makaduol from Kenya. Wake up Kenya, wake up Africa, wake up world nations and the people of America. Coronavirus killer disease is a dangerous economic tool that was funded by President Donald Trump of America at the tune of $3.7 million to the Wuhan Institute of Virology in China to control the world nation's economic power and create the disease as war tool device for the Trump to control and colonize more nations in the world. And he really funded this research without asking the taxpayers of American people permission to release the fund. And this China-America and China-Trump killer disease corona must be known to the whole world that Trump must be held responsible to all fatalities that the disease has caused and all economic crises that the disease has caused to many world nations. And Chinese government must apologize to the whole world. This disease killer is well known by Trump. And that's why American people must make Trump go home. And it is time for Trump to go home right away, because he is antichrist and anti-godly leader, a person who has committed an offense against humanity to the worst degree of humanity conceptual requirement, fundamental needs to the whole world. And unfortunately, he has also failed to support the developing nations financially because he has caused the disease to the many to suffer fatalities uncontrollable. Many nations in the world is advised to start preparing to sue Donald Trump to compensate them the losses, both fatalities and economic losses, because he funded the research and through National Institute of Health of America without the permission from the people of America. And then unfortunately again, many nations in the world today have started suffering the pandemic defraudment from their leaders, including the Kenya government. Because the Kenya government has failed to share accurate information of the coronavirus pandemic to the public, and having spent over 46 million Kenya shillings for reimbursement alone, when the universal social welfare support is not already given to any citizen of a Kenyan nation. This is the most servitude situation that the government and the people must have been sharing the same verdict. But because some leaders have chosen not to support the universal social welfare support of their people, then these people must go home. They must go home. Including the Kenya government, they must go home. Because it is the electorate who are the government, not the leaders. The leaders are the servants of the people. and this should serve the life in general to support the people's basic needs. If over 46 billion Kenya money is requested by the government from the county governments of Kenya in the name of corona pandemic intervention, when over 46 million Kenya money is spent on refreshment, when the most vulnerable person in the village, down in the grassroots level, are going hungry daily, are suffering without any meal, are suffering without any snack, then the government at the State House is laughing, is smiling, because they are eating the people's blood. And again, now the Kenya government, we are wondering, why should they be asking to be loaned over 275 billion from IMF, World Bank, and African Development Bank? This is the most stupidest manner of leadership that Kenya is suffering from. And this is the worst impunity that the leadership of the Kenya government is imposing upon the suffrage of the general public and the vulnerable society, which is suffering from in strongest term and virology of the poverty, the extreme poverty. Such governments should leave and they should go home for the people to get those who could lead them for the purposes of enjoying the support of humanity, humility, and humanocracy. And that's our position. And that's why Donald Trump must go home. And those leaders in the developing nation, including Kenya, who are swindling the people's life and health with the coronavirus disease pandemic, must also follow suit and go home. They must go home, and they must go home. And the general citizenship must hold them responsible for not caring for their life, as the constitution of those nations, including the constitution of Kenya and the America, entails in the serving of the universal welfare of the general citizenry. I must raise it. And within our political domain of social liberalism, Democrats Kenya movement, we are exercising the Africanization for humanity and the democratization for humanity, humility, and humanocratic leadership that must support the universal humanity of the people when a disaster has hit the nation, has hit the continent, and has hit the whole world. Rise up, Kenya, rise up, America, rise up, the people of the world, and take the hold.